We're going to try part 2. The other problem I have is we're talking about racism and sexism. A lot of what I face, I think, is actually sexism. Because it has first issues come up because I'm a female. And then you find out I'm a female with an Asian name. And that causes even more trauma to people. It's interesting. Um, I usually can tell somebody's thinking by my name. I can see sometimes when people ask me what my name is, uh, or if they know my name and then they meet me, I can see frustration build up in them. And then my name becomes way too difficult for them to pronounce. And it's very, very odd to me. I just don't have that thinking, and it confuses me, but then I realize it's probably because I was born with a different culture's name, a different race. And so that's probably hard for people to get their head around. When I'm looking at it, it's always been this way for me. So when people tell me their names, if I find one difficult or hard or not the right race or whatever it is, it doesn't bother me. I don't even have those thoughts. I didn't have those thoughts until others pointed it out. And then I was like, huh, that's how you view it? That's weird. And for the longest time, I couldn't understand why I viewed things differently, and I'm getting it now. It's things are kind of adding up. I'm like, oh, because I look at things differently because my name's different. Get it. Um, I do experience a lot too because if I'm in a group and there's other white people and maybe their views are not as acceptable, or I find their views like to be racist, they seem to freely say stuff to me that are really offensive towards another race. And you got to realize where I'm living right now too. Colorado Springs is not friendly to races, gays, like all kinds. It is not a friendly town for that. In fact, you can tell. Now that's not all of Colorado, but we have these pockets here that are deeply, 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 deeply still, I'm going to say bothered by these ideas. The other thing I would like to point out, I've been running around on reservations since I can walk. I spent a lot of years out at Pyramid Lake. A lot of years. And in fact, they probably still remember me out there. My name, yeah. um, I would like to point out when I was out on the reservations by myself with my children, uh, I was never treated poorly. I was never told, you're white, you can't be here. Um, I was never harassed. I did experience, I thought it was cool though. I did experience people coming out of the hills. And they would approach me and be like, what are you doing out here? Because they found it very odd that this little white chick was out in the middle of the reservation by themselves with their 2 babies. And usually I was doing things like, I call it meditation, you call it prayer, whatever you guys want to call it. I would do things, I was meditating, I was communing. There were other people that were associated with our groups that weren't the best people either. But that's not how and there was other persons out there that used to go to Pyramid with us, but they saw me do it. And I think that's why, I never really had a problem. Whenever I would go in, I had my little Toyota pickup long bed. Whenever I would go in, I would make sure when I left and I would pick up extra trash. So the back of my truck was always full of trash when I was leaving. There are certain things I did like that. But my point is, I was never made to feel like I was an outsider or I didn't belong. They may have not understood what I was doing, but they never told me I was wrong. They never told me, oh, you're praying wrong. Your belief system is wrong. I never heard that out there. Um, in my personal relationships, I'm actually told the opposite. I don't know how to explain that to people. Um, when I don't listen to the noise on the TV and on internet, uh, with the Native American tribes, I'm actually told I belong. I don't know what to tell anybody because I know what you think I'm told, but I'm telling you what I'm told. So I just did a video months ago on the Sand Creek massacres. I did not film this part of it because that's not what I was there to do. I was there to film the message, not my personal conversation. I was in direct contact. I saw an incident there that bothered the hell out of me. It really did. But the people at the exhibit that were, how do I explain this? I guess I got to tell the story. There's not going to be names, but I got to tell the story. So when I went there to film that, when I was filming and I kind of grumbled in some of the footage of it, what was going on is, and this is before this is before I even spoke to anybody about the exhibit. A group of kids had come in. The first thing I heard, and it actually really irritated me because I was like, this was not part of the exhibition. These sounds were not actually in the exhibition at all. And I talked to one of the people there at the museum, and they tried, oh, well, no, there's another room and there's a movie and maybe they got it from there. And I'm explaining to her what I heard. And I'm like, no, I know I filmed that. It's not in there. What the kid, and that's what I was keeping in my brain. This is a child when it happened. The child walked in going, that is so offensive. And I don't know how people can't understand that. That was not part of the exhibition. Even in there, what the lady was talking about, she was talking about a tribal ritual dance and music. Is not part of it. That's Hollywood. 100%. That is false. That is a complete narrative that's false. That's what this kid did. I know maybe you're sitting back watching my video going, I don't know what's wrong with that. What's wrong with that? Well, you're making fun of somebody's culture, of their heritage. That's what's wrong with it. It's a joke to you. That's what's wrong with it. That kid should have never, and I'm not blaming that child because obviously that child has gotten some pretty messed up messages in his head. That's all I'm going to tell you about that. The adults that were with these kids did see that it was not okay and they did stop it. But that was just bothered me because here's this child that would not have done this on their own because that doesn't exist. The only way for that child to have obtained that knowledge is somebody imparted that knowledge on that child. And that's just a simple fact. So that set my dander up, but it was a child. So I grumbled, but I realized that, you know what? It's not this kid's fault. This is not something that he came up with on his own. Somebody put that idea there. So I did talk to one of the, I guess, people at the front desk kind of about it, and they blamed it on something about another exhibit. And I'm like, that's not even in the other exhibit. I don't know. You don't know what you're talking about. So I dropped it. Then later on, I saw a person who was involved. Well, actually, I think they were there when I was talking to the lady. I'm not sure. Because I was just so like, why is this happening? This is sick. And the fact that nobody understands how sick that is, that's bothered me. Yes, and I am smoking because this is a stressful topic. Gotta keep the demons away. Oh, it went out anyways. So anyways, giving my tobacco offering, but I guess it's done because it went out on its own. So that bothered me. Then I decided I needed something to eat. I was probably a little hangry. So I'll tell you this part of it. I found the best sandwich in the world. I don't know why I never thought of it. But so basically it's a fancy grilled cheese, but it's not really fancy. So you just do grilled cheese, do some fancy bread though. Fancy is healthy, I guess. Do like whole grain. Then you do your cheeses. Then you take fresh arugula and you throw it on that sandwich and grill the arugula in the sandwich with it. Oh, it's a really good sandwich. So they have that sandwich there at the museum. It's delicious. So I was waiting for my food. I don't know if it's a person because I really didn't ask them because this part wasn't that important to me. So I didn't ask them like how much they had to do with the exhibit. Is this your exhibit? Like I just knew they were involved in it. And that part wasn't important to me. What I wanted to know, what did this artist, what did this person want me to take away from their exhibit? I'd already viewed it, so it's not like but I just wanted to know. I was curious. And they explained to me exactly what I should be taking away. And they are correct. So they imparted that this is my history as well, because I know nobody wants to understand it. My family, we married and we fought the natives, both of them. So I do have a native heritage as well. A lot of the tribes just don't want to accept my heritage because of who we are. That does hurt because I know I have not done anything. I understand my family has caused a lot of trauma, a lot of deceit, a lot of lies, and a lot of trauma. I have a direct bloodline connection into it. I find it funny that some of these tribes, like I'm just discovering them, but they know exactly who I am. That is kind of ironic. I'm just like, it's not fair. You know more about me than I do, and you don't want to share. But I understand their frustration. I understand where they're coming from, so I don't take it personally. So other than those tribes with the written, any other places I've been accepted. I've been told that this is your heritage too. Oh, and this person wanted to point out, and he is correct 100%. Hollywood just hasn't stolen from his lineage. It's stolen from mine too. Hollywood, I'm finding out, has made so much money off of my family and the stories in my family. It's crazy. It is crazy. How much Disney is made off of my family. It's nuts. So that was where this Native American wanted me to take away that it's just not his lineage, it's mine too. I have encountered here, which really confuses me. There is a lot of, we're going to because we got to call everything by its color. Now, again, brown people, which I hate this because you guys look at me. Do I look white to you? I'm not. I'm actually red and clear. That's what also confuses me. Everybody calls natives redskins. Look at me. What color am I? You can see the blood through my body, through my I'm that white. I'm like translucent. You can actually see my veins, everything, and I'm red. When my rosacea is not acting up though, I am pretty pale. And then I burn, like I don't suntan, I just burn. So, and this causes skin damage. That's all it does. But if I stay out of the sun, then the skin damage starts to repair itself eventually. But you can see it. And I have freckles, like a redhead, because I'm actually a redhead as well. Pretty dang white. But I was saying, so like, I don't know. I just have been accepted, and I don't know how to explain this either to people. I've been accepted by more non-white races than I find in my own race. I mean, I don't even have a family that will acknowledge me. That's how crazy it is. Uh, when in I can't remember. I'd have to sit back and go over the exact year. I think a lot of this stuff I tried to close off in the back of my mind to keep it from me because it's just not healthy. But I do know I was almost beat to death in Deer Creek Junior High. This was back in the 80s. And it was because I had the audacity to talk to somebody who was non-white. My white fellow coworkers and citizens just want to spread this ugliness and this nonsense, and I find it sickening 100%. So that's where I'm kind of confused, because I'm noticing, like, probably because my name, I have a different view on things. Maybe that's why I have this name, is to make sure I view things differently. I have no clue. All I know is being born white with a Japanese name, I was first introduced to Buddhism, then Christianity.